Matilda just got fucking released. No one would care about that if it weren't for Roald Dahl.
Right,
He fucking wrote the
Right,
book.
first of all, the way you're pronouncing that name, Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl.
To whom it may concern. No, I don't really get nervous on radio anymore. I think some of it
There you go, my friend.
comes down to the fact, when I first did community radio, it was so bad
Right.
that I just got used to bombing, and I don't really care what the audience think anymore.
Was everyone bombing, or like, what do you mean, like?
Well, I'll say it was community radio, so everyone on the station was a volunteer, and you don't really know how many people are listening. There can't be many.
Right.
We're going to be very loyal listeners. I think half of the listeners were also
You
members of the
students.
station.
Yeah.
This
Well, you got to say this is a uni station, isn't it?
No, when I started on community radio, I would have been 16.
Fuck, man.
So that was
What, like college?
No. That was I did work experience at my local volunteer station the week after I finished my National Fives.
A-levels?
Scottish equivalent of GCSEs.
Oh, okay. I would say like a Scottish GCSE is probably like an English SAT score, if you know what they are. No, I'm kidding. That's like a year 6. So just poking a little fun, you know.
Yeah,
We
again,
pop jokes on the show.
I know
No.
people don't seem to realize how much of a difference the Scottish and English education systems actually have.
Really? How different are they?
Well, say I did my National Fives in S4.
Mm-hmm.
So I was 16. Some people were still 15. And after you've done that,
Yeah.
you've got another 2 years of school. Yeah.
So that's where you'll start it.
So you've got exams 3 years in a row. You don't, like most people, if they're going to continue with education, they'll do another 2 years of school instead of college. If you go to a college rather than sixth form colleges like England has, you're more likely to be going off to do a more vocational course.
Mm-hmm.
So like an NC or a HND qualification.
Okay. I mean, I can't. What was your experience at school like? in
Very
Scotland?
mixed.
Okay.
Very mixed.
How was it growing up in Scotland?
Well, I mean, I can't speak for all Scottish people. Just think. I lived. Now that I
lived? Is that all okay?
I lived,
Is
yeah,
that
I grew up in Scotland and I lived to tell the tale.
Yeah. What's the percentage of people who don't live to tell the tale on that? Like,
Probably higher than either of us would like to really find out.
what do you think the most common death is in Scotland? Like, okay, let's put away like cancer and shit, but like the weird deaths, kind of like, oh, you'd imagine like on average people in Wales have the most interaction with sheep, based off a stereotype. Is there anything peculiar about life in Scotland that anybody else out there needs to know? Like, what's, advertise Scotland for us.
Advertise Scotland based on, how you might unexpectedly die.
I feel
what
like
you're asking me?
yeah, well, because that's my sense that normally people do die. I feel like it's quite overall the country's quite spread out in terms of its population. Or in the cities it's dense, but there's very rural areas of it. In most of Scotland, not a lot's going on. Right?
Yeah, you got a population of under 6 million. There's over 1 million in Glasgow.
Yeah.
And nobody in the Highlands and Islands.
Yeah, basically no. Like on that, when you go from the north of the English border, you have the two cities, Edinburgh and Glasgow. You correct me if I'm wrong, but then they're the most two populated cities, and then the rest of Scotland, basically nothing.
Yeah, and even then, like a city as most people would consider it, like Glasgow is a proper city. That's a bit like, say, Manchester, Liverpool.
Right.
Edinburgh, by most countries' standards, is not much of a city. It's very picturesque. There's still a lot of community in it. It doesn't have much in the way of a city centre or really a there's not always much of a youth presence outside of university there.
I know.
Like if you want a good night out, go to Glasgow. As if you go to Edinburgh, you can have a good time, but you got to be rich to begin with.
I went to a great stand-up gig in Glasgow. I went on a road trip with my brother. I hadn't seen him for a while. And my dad. It was back in January, and it was really good. We went in the city for a bit, but then I'll have to pull it up. But it was like on the outskirts. I think it was in like the northwest of Glasgow, and it was this great like new acts, but kind of mixed in with some quite experienced stand-up comedians.
Can you remember who any of them were?
No, I can't. There was actually no, but to my effect, there was like 12 or 13 on that night.
Right.
So there was quite a few of them, and also I was very drunk. So
fair enough.
Yeah, but I love going to see stand up. Do you watch much of it yourself?
Yeah. I did very briefly try and get into it. Certainly Edinburgh, Glasgow, they both have the stand comedy clubs. They're great for it, and then Edinburgh has the Festival Fringe,
okay,
which has thousands of shows on that lasts a month. So that's you'd struggle to find any comic, any big name comic from around the world who hasn't performed there at some point. So,
well, this might be a good time to like kind of tell us what you do, because it involves the Fringe Festival. Why don't you just give us your name and tell us what you do, kind of thing?
Right. Yeah. This podcast got off to a very abrupt start. I didn't even realize you were recording, to be honest.
Are you fine with this, or do you want me?
I mean, maybe send me or let me watch back the first 5 minutes. Just make sure I didn't say anything I really don't.
No,
want
I can send this to you before we send it out, or we could just start again.
No, we don't have to start again. But please, if there is anything I want edited out, keep this section in just to keep the audience guessing what they didn't hear.
Yeah, no, that's always good. Leave a bit of mystery. No, there have been episodes which haven't gone out. There've been it's not every time does it go right, but I'm sure bringing on Robert Scott Fleming, there was no doubt in my mind. Smash hit. It's gonna be a smash hit.
You may have your hopes too high.
Really?
Yeah, well, you have seen me go completely silent for hours on end.
Yeah, Rob. Kind of a lot of times I've seen you after a few drinks, absolutely silent.
Yeah.
But I enjoy our chats when we're sober, and you're that guy. That is your role. As you've got mates that you hang out with. You're just the guy that passes out and kind of does that.
I am the Scottish stereotype.
That's really sleepy Scotsman.
I don't know. I mean, for most of the people I hang out with in Manchester, I am considered the token Scot. Whereas back home, I'm fucking posh.
Yeah, that's it, right? Like when I go back home, people are like, "Oh, you're so posh now. You got a different voice." But when I'm here, everyone's like, they don't notice my voice. Whenever you go back home, people start caring about your voice. But I think it's different for you because you're in a different country, right?
Yeah.
We're in England and you're a Scotsman.
People always notice the accent. And again, say in Scotland, people know where the accent's from.
Yeah.
But in Manchester, people always say, "Oh, where in Scotland are you from?" They know the accent's from somewhere, but they can't quite narrow it down to the population of 5 million. It's a bit condescending. You could just ask, "Where am I from?"
I could tell the difference between the Highland accent and like maybe a Glasgow and a Edinburgh accent.
Yeah.
Because apparently they're quite singy and they're quite. It sounds like a bit of a song. No, that's Irish. Fuck, man.
No,
Fuck. No, I can't believe I just butchered the accent. Do you get my point?
I do get your point, and I can see why you'd actually put on the Irish accent there. So I think that stems from communities in the Highlands and Islands still speaking Gaelic.
Right. Okay.
And you can tell, same way if someone's come from, say, mainland Europe, they'll speak perfect English, but they'll keep an accent that isn't any type of English accent.
Right.
And if people are raised speaking Gaelic, they're going to speak that with
Could you speak a little well, I would pronounce it Gaelic. Have I been pronouncing Gaelic wrong?
Irish Gaelic, Scots Gaelic.
Fuck, I didn't know. So could you give me some Gaelic then?
Honestly,
Do you know
no,
any?
Nope.
No. Because
that
well,
I lived in the Lowlands. I think I grew up one county north of the border.
damn.
Yeah.
So
And
would you-
it's I think there is one Gaelic speaking school in Edinburgh.
is it dying out? Kind of like a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of other accents. Yeah.
The easier it is to travel across the country, the more it dies out.
Yeah.
It's almost nobody's first language.
I mean, that's happening with a lot of small countries now, especially with more people watching media, right? Everyone's slowly getting a transatlantic accent, like a
Yeah.
lot of American media,
So even
or Chinese or Mandarin, I think.
yeah,
are
well,
the term-
even English accents are increasingly a bit less distinct.
Definitely.
Or I before I came to Manchester, I had no idea what a Manchester accent really was.
Yeah.
So it's all English to me.
If there was kind of a statement that describes Robert Scott Fleming, or like, and if you could introduce yourself to us,
Could I introduce myself to?
because I'm just being honest. I've hung out with you, and you're one of those people where I'm like, I want the world to know you. Do you know when you meet those type of people?
Occasionally, yeah.
Do you take that as a compliment, though?
Okay,
Do you know what I mean?
thank you.
Do you take that as not a compliment?
I take that as a compliment.
There's some people you hang out with, and you go, "You are different," not in a bad way, you know, not in a bad way.
I've had various GPs tell me the same.
Right? Yeah. Go on, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, my name is Robert Scott Fleming. I'm aged 22 and a half. I hail from the Scottish motherland, and I'm best described for those merely listening in the audio format as a real life Quentin Blake illustration.
Now, if the people out there didn't know what a Quentin Blake illustration was, like, of course I know that.
Who the hell didn't read Roald Dahl growing up?
Yeah, who the fuck? No, I don't know what that is. What is?
Really?
No, I don't know.
Like, so you read Willy Wonka, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Yeah,
yeah.
I know that.
Danny Champion of the World.
No, I don't know that.
Fuck, man. Like,
Is it a Scottish name?
no, Roald Dahl. Like,
I don't know.
he's one of the all-time great
No, there's a lot of
writers.
things. There's a lot of things we talk about, and I feel like a lot of your references come from a different generation. of mine.
Roald Dahl's not fucking obscure. There's another Willy Wonka film coming out this year.
Right,
Matilda just got fucking released. No one would care about that if it weren't for Roald Dahl.
Right,
He fucking wrote the
Right,
book.
first of all, the way you're pronouncing that name, Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl. Right, anyway.
Do you
Everyone
know?
knows Willy Wonka. Everyone knows Matilda. The
Yeah.
word I can't even remember the title of what you just said. I think a lot of people out there wouldn't know what that is.
Danny Champion of the World. That's another one of Roald
Okay,
Dahl's children's stories, and that's
Right.
one that came to mind. Mostly on account of my my similarity to some of the illustrations in it, and it was also a personal favorite as a child.
So I think from introducing we're introducing the audience to you. You're introducing to the audience. We can already get a grasp of, you're a person with a lot of knowledge about unique things.
Roald Dahl's.
Well, that's not I feel like you're a person who can talk about anything for a while. You're that type of. I mean, we were talking about that earlier, right?
Not sports.
Not sports. Yeah, but I think if there was anybody who could talk for Scotland with like the least amount of prompts, probably you'd be one of the. Do you think you'd be top seed at that?
Yeah,
or?
I could talk for a while without saying anything at all. And listeners will come to realize that within maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah, because why don't you say like what do you do for work? What are your hobbies? What do you do?
Bit of this, bit of that. What do I do for work? I'll do whatever anyone asks me to.
Right.
I work occasionally as a technician for theatre, for events.
Mhm.
I work the Edinburgh Fringe every year.
Okay.
Got a nice promotion this year. I'm been bumped up from general technician to lighting technician.
Right.
So-
So yeah.
I'm expecting to be given a bigger venue, maybe some more high profile acts.
No, for sure.
So when we're talking about the Scottish comedy scene, I should be fairly plugged into that over summer.
Nice.
And if I'm smarter this year than I was the past few times I've worked it, maybe I'll try harder to get on with the acts. Maybe keep in touch. I'll print business cards.
Do you think, like, do you get to interact with so the when you're doing it for stand-up events, do you get to interact with the comics?
Yeah.
Or the talent? Like, is a lot of that with just tailoring what their needs? You're talking to them at the start of the event, going like, what do you need? What type of setup do you want? Is that kind of, am I getting that right?
So I've when I did my last Fringe, I would be just in charge of a 100-seat venue for 6 hours, or I'd be overseeing it. I had a senior technician and a site manager who would go all around the building. So I think 5 or 6 venues.
How is
on
it working for like Edinburgh Fringe?
Well, Edinburgh Fringe is it's a time of year. It's not one company.
Okay.
I won't say what company I work for, but there are quite a few. It's more commercial than it used to be. There are some very high profile companies. So, one of the flagship venues is a Big Purple Cow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unfair. Am I mentioning it? I feel like today there's a lot of things you're saying which I think I should know. Like, should I know that brand or company? The Big Purple Cow?
You know what? I think the best way to keep people engaged is if you say stuff, if you make references that people might not get.
Yeah.
They can Google it.
Right, yeah. Or if I was generous enough, I'd pop it up on the screen. I mean, if in editing,
you're
I'm
a nice
generous.
guy. You're a good editor.
Yeah, I guess I'd do that. Yeah. Like, what's the craziest thing that has happened, like, from your time being a tech at the Fringe?
Okay, so this may surprise you, knowing me a bit. I have received one complaint.
Okay. Yeah, like, kind of surprises me, to be honest, Rob.
You would expect a lot more.
Like, I'm saying nearing triple figures is... Well, how long have you been working there?
Well, I've worked twice as a tech for Fringe.
Maybe, sorry, that was a bit harsh. 3 or 4?
Yeah, I mean, you're bearing in mind I've worked customer service at Christmas markets and
right.
a couple pop-up festivals in London.
Right.
And I never got, well, no one ever went through with a threatened complaint.
That's good, man. At least you're getting good. That's gotta fuel your ego a bit, no one hates me.
No, I'm very good with difficult customers. I've got it down to a T how to make them give up.
So what happened?
So if they're being difficult, start talking slower. If you're working with a computer, oh sorry, it's buffering, it's going to take a minute.
Yeah.
If they keep being difficult, you start showing you're new to the job.
Yeah, that's always a good one.
If they start making impossible requests, it's that's when your childhood stammer returns.
It's really good, right? I had a couple shifts in Subway. Sorry to divulge, but I've been there back 3 times now, and I still go, look, I'm new, mate. Working at Subway stress. Like, I don't know if you. I hate it. I hated it when I had to work there. So yeah, go ahead. Tell us this story.
May I just say my favorite thing before we get onto the tech thing. My favorite thing to do customer service was whenever someone said, "Can I speak to your manager, please?"
Yeah.
My favorite sentence in the English language is, "I'll fetch you my supervisor."
Oh, okay. So you kind of like, you're not gonna get the manager. I'll get you the supervisor.
You're not worthy of the manager.
Yeah, like you're still kind of getting. It's like a polite jab back.
Oh, well, I wasn't polite.
We're so good at that. I think, Scottish people included. British people being polite, but also kind of subtle sarcasm, sort of bit of passive aggressive. We're fucking good at that.
Yeah.
You think? We are quite good at that.
Well, everything should be taken as an insult if it's not accompanied by an apology.
Yeah, for sure. We are very apologetic as well. Fuck
Yeah.
me. Yeah, man.
Yeah, your housemate, Declan, he always complains that I apologize too much.
Really?
Yeah, to which all I can say is sorry.
It is. It's like an endless loop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go on then, man.
But anyway, yeah, my only ever complaint as a technician is doing the right thing. So the venue I was overseeing last year was a pop-up venue, wasn't in use the rest of the year. So the seating rig had been built in July.
Okay.
The carpet that the audience put their feet on had been laid, I think, at the start of the month.
Okay.
It was stapled down. Every evening at the end of a shift, I would have to hoover the carpet. There would be occasionally screws might have fallen out of a chair. Customers have dropped things, sometimes broken glass, and staples might come out of the carpet. So not a particularly clean floor, not a safe floor.
No.
And with 8 shows a day in a venue of over 100, that's
Could get messy.
1,600 feet.
Yeah.
Have been
You
on
must
that
have seen
floor.
some things.
Yeah. Well, 8 shows a day. But anyway, I noticed during a sold out show, there was a man in the audience had no shoe on. He had a barefoot.
Okay.
Which, as a technician, I'm primarily there for health and safety reasons. I'm not operating this show. That's an immediate sort of concern. So if he puts his foot down, he's injured himself. That's on me.
Yeah, you be in the ship for that.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna get a staple, bit of broken glass, or just the last audience member's dog shit on his bare foot.
Yeah.
So
Who's bringing a dog into a comedy show?
Well, I mean,
does that happen in the Fringe?
they had to tread through the streets of Edinburgh during a bin lorry strike to get to the venue.
So you saw this guy. He's about to step on glass or some sort of contaminated.
He's got
nail.
a bare foot. That's all I see, and I know that's an accident waiting to happen. So go up to him very quietly, middle of the show. Excuse me, sir. Can you put your shoe back on, please? We can't have bare foot on this carpet. Then I go back up to the operating desk. I don't wait for his reply. He knows I'm in charge.
You love that kind of that authority. Do you get a little kick out of authority, do you think?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think everyone secretly does, right? There's cops who go like, oh, the authority. But there's everyone kind of loves it.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason I keep telling you to watch The Wire. But we'll get back to that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you recommend me, Rob, and to be honest, I just don't have enough time in the day, I could definitely dedicate more time to it. But, if I actually cared about your recommendations, so.
You bastard.
Joking.
I'm not inviting you on my podcast.
Anyway, Rob,
Yes.
So you are a Scottish man.
Yes.
I've got a staple here. Iron Brew. Now I've never
Are we not finishing the story?
Oh, that's not the end of the story?
No.
I thought that was the end of the story.
No.
Carry on the
That's
story.
the beginning of the story.
Okay, sorry, my friend. I thought that was the end.
No. I go back to the operating desk. This man waits till the end of the show to approach me. Say, what was all that about? I say, it's not safe to have bare feet on this carpet. It's stapled down. We don't know what's on it. Then he asks for my name. Obviously, it's Robert Fleming.
Oh,
I
you
don't-
didn't drop the middle name in there.
I
I think Robert Scott Fleming just gives that a little bit more pizzazz,
Yeah. If he's wanting, he was asking clearly so he could make a complaint. I'm not giving him the full name.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't give him a fake name, but if he gets my name a little bit wrong, that makes him look worse.
True. I would definitely give a fake name as well. If they complain, give a
Yeah.
fake name. Who are they going to report it to?
I will say he's English. This customer. So if you share this and he ends up being your uncle or something,
Fuck, imagine.
keep your shoes on, mate.
Is he ginger?
He's
Oh, well, we don't know.
I
then.
think. I know, I mostly saw his foot. Anyway, a couple days later,
He's pulled out his phone, ladies and gentlemen, for people who are listening. What are you pulling up, man?
His wife sent an email.
His
A
wife.
complaint.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, I may get in a lot of trouble if anyone knows I've read this out, so
Hey, I'm all for it.
I'll abbreviate bits of it.
Okay.
Anyway,
Don't show just no names.
no names.
Or you can give a fake name.
No, just no names.
No names. We'll go no
No
names.
names whatsoever. To whom it may concern.
Okay. Is it on all caps?
That was in all caps. Yeah.
She sends who opens an email like that? Okay.
No.
I'm up for this now.
I would like to begin this email by saying that myself and my husband have been going to the Edinburgh Fringe for more than 20 years. We have seen many, many shows in Edinburgh and have always been very happy with the service and staff at your venue. Unfortunately, we had a very upsetting experience with a member of staff, which I would like to draw your attention to. My husband suffered a serious leg and foot injury in a car accident 20 years ago, and so often suffers from foot and ankle ache. He does not like to make a fuss about it. We always try and sit on the left-hand aisle seats in a venue so that he can massage his foot to avoid getting cramp, but not disturbing other audience members.
If I saw someone massaging their foot next to me while listening to a comedy show, without knowing that would disturb me a bit. Sorry to interrupt, but that's disturbing, right?
Yeah.
That is. Like, what, with no sock as well? If he was barefoot, that would just really disturb me.
Well, you're about to hear the full context. 'Cause it wasn't just that he'd taken his shoe off. No. During the show, he was suffering from footache, so quietly slipped off his sandal and was massaging his left foot. He was approached by a member of staff who told my husband to put his sandal back on and that he would, and this is in quotation marks, not tolerate such behavior during his show. That's it's the wrong perspective and the wrong tense.
Yeah, so that was a quote what you said, but that's she's got that wrong.
Yeah. We were shocked beyond belief and extremely distressed. We have no idea what my husband was doing wrong. Considering the Fringe's policies of inclusion of all races, genders, and abilities, we were dismayed at the appalling and very judgmental attitude of this staff member.
Yeah, well,
we would have followed up this complaint immediately after the show, but in true Fringe fashion, we were rushing to another venue.
She's living that fast life, man.
Well, all I have to say is, I mean, if we'd been given a heads up that this was a medical requirement, would have allowed it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's that he's been quietly massaging his foot without disturbing anyone for 20 years. I think it's he's gotten away with it for 20 years and can't see the fucking problem.
Yeah. You think someone would have asked him to put a sock on. You can still massage your foot with a sock on, right?
Was also experienced a cramp. He did not get to massage it. And then we ran to another show.
Yeah. Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to have some consistency in that story.
Ah.
Wow. But yeah, would you say that's probably the weirdest thing you've seen? A barefoot guy kind of massaging his foot. Would his wife ever do it for him? That would be even creepier if they were just having a massage session.
I don't know. I don't. Yeah, unlike you, Eddie, I don't tend to watch couples' foot massages.
Oh, really? No. Actually, when I'm at a show, I don't usually watch who's on stage. I have a look at like the weird dynamics that couples have.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing I like about being a tech is actually once you've seen a show for a few times, it can become more entertaining to watch the audience.
True. Yeah.
See how they react to different parts
100%.
and also what they're trying to hide from the acts, what they're up to if they're bored.
It's the people who get like front row seats and they didn't know, so their wife or their husband would have booked it, and then they're just like, "Darling, honey, what? were here, and you just see them like trembling.
Yeah.
It is. To be fair, it's quite intimidating.
Well, being
especially
in,
if
being in
you
the front row.
being in the front row, especially if it's a comic that kind of talks to the audience a lot. Some people find that quite intimidating.
It can be, but I also something I've really hated when seating the audience is I always try fill from the front, leave no gaps. It's people who are rude to me when I say, "Could you sit in the front, please?" And they don't give a reason for not wanting to sit in the front.
That's weird.
And most of the shows at Fringe are not comedians.
Yeah.
So if you are going for a serious dramatic bit of theater, front row's the best seat.
Yeah, I was just talking about like showbiz and like stages in general, performances in general. Like and yeah. No, I was I thought the Fringe was quite a lot of it stand up.
There is a lot of stand up.
Yeah.
But there's just more to it. As I said, I think this year it's over 3,000 shows
Wow.
happening.
So that's something, of course, Scotland's pretty famous for.
Yeah.
Edinburgh's pretty famous for. Another thing Scotland is very famous for. I've got a little something on here, Rob. You're a Scotsman, aren't you?
I am, to the best of my knowledge,
Got a
Scottish.
bit. Do you know what this is? Do you know what this is, Rob?
That is.
What do you take it?
That
Take it as a
is-
gift from me.
Is the reason I was so annoying in high school.
So Rob's holding a can. What's it called, Rob?
It's Iron Brew.
Okay. Now, if we've never seen this beverage before, please describe it for us.
Okay, it's be honest, I don't drink much. I haven't drunk much of it since they changed the recipe.
I don't
But,
think I've ever had Iron Brew. I
can-
think.
It's very sweet.
Can
and
you hold up for the can to the can?
yeah, it's very sweet, and you can't exactly tell what the flavors are supposed to be. I think there's a bit of ginger.
That's always
in
good
there, for
when
sure.
when a drink is kind of like, I don't really know what this is.
I find it a bit ominous.
I
I
got a bit of
found-
mystery about it.
I found in school I had a real problem with sugar. I was drinking 2 liters of Iron Brew a day.
Jesus, you were like a stereotypical fucking Scottish guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's what. Okay,
Um,
that's funny as fuck. Why are we drinking 2 liters of it?
So I just wanted sugar.
In sixth form, I used to drink 2 liters of Diet Coke a day. How fucked is that?
Hmm.
This was I'd be playing video games probably for like 5 or 6 hours a day, and that would be it. So I can relate to you, man.
Yeah. No, I mean I was doing that during the school day, but yeah. How do I describe Iron Brew? It's very orange. It's a bit. It matches your hair in a certain light.
Yeah. Would you say it's more orange or less orange than my hair?
It's
I'm a
more
ginger
orange.
fellow.
It's more orange than your hair.
Okay.
Or less impressive though.
Oh, thank you, man. See, I feel like all I've been trying to do is pop jokes. You've been very nice to me. You know, maybe when these cameras turn off.
When these cameras turn off, it's gonna be like that one scene in Midnight Express.
Fuck. What happened there?
I don't want to spoil Midnight Express for it. Have you not seen Midnight Express?
It's a lot of these things. It's hilarious because it's probably funny if I know these things, and there might be people who know that. But I'm gonna be honest. My knowledge of like films and shit for the amount I work in it, I should definitely know more references. But should we pop it open and give it a try?
Yeah, sure.
Do you think? Do you
will.
think I'm gonna like it?
It's hard to say. I think if you enjoy sweet things, you will like it. What I'll say is they changed the recipe a few years ago.
Okay.
For good reason. It has less sugar content now.
Right.
But it's not as good
No, it's good. Okay.
as it used to almost sting when you drank it. It would like my nose, my ear would tingle.
Is that normal? Is that healthy?
Every kid seemed to enjoy it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Iron Brew.
Yeah,
Should say.
I'll say
Brewed in Scotland, a secret recipe since 1901.
that's incredibly racist, Eddie.
Can an Englishman not do? Is that not acceptable anymore?
I guess it's acceptable. I'm just fucking sick of the fact that no iconic Scottish character is actually played by a Scottish actor.
Oh, that is sad. Right.
Scottish actors are only famous for playing English people.
Okay. Right, let's try this. Before you go on a rant, Rob. Yeah, so that's what it said on the back of the bottle. How much sugar? We got 4.5 grams of sugar. Okay.
Yeah, so quite a lot. Not as much as it used to be.
You give that a taste. Yeah, it's not like an energy drink. I thought it was going to taste like more of an energy drink,
No.
and it doesn't really taste like a Red Bull or something like
Well,
that.
I should say I've never tried energy drinks.
Really? What about like you've had coffee, but not like Monster, like any of them?
Never had Monster. I think I've had Red Bull mixed with the occasional drink when I was younger.
Are there any other like staple kind of things that? Because when I went to Scotland, I tried haggis. Is there anything like you'd say, oh, try this in Scotland or do this?
Tatty scones.
Tatty scones. I think I've had them for breakfast. They were fucking good. They level up a full English breakfast. Tatty scone.
Yeah,
they're good.
A full
Would they
Scottish
beat hash browns
breakfast.
though? I don't think they do.
Well, you usually get both.
Yeah, but that's
hash
a
browns do exist in Scotland.
lot.
Butteries. I don't quite know.
Butteries.
Butteries. I haven't had a buttery in a few years. I'm not quite sure if I could describe it.
Buttery.
It's so I believe sort of is it pastry or is it bread? I can't remember which, but there's a lot of butter. It's very fatty.
Just butter, yeah.
It's kind of similar to a tatty scone. well let me try again. I approach you at the bar.
Okay.
Hey up, lass. You ever seen a seagull in a tree?
No.
Me neither.
Wow, that man. It's really made me think that's not bad, you know?
Seriously?
Making me think, this guy thinks, he's on a different level to everyone else.
Right. I do at this point.
It's better than what you said before. To be honest, that is better than what you said before.
Okay, so internet memes are better than my personality.
Yeah, I think that's. Wow.
You know how to treat your guests, Eddie.
That was good. No, I feel like if there's anybody I want to do role play with, Rob, it's you. So it's been a delight. Is there anything else you kind of want to say? Is there anything you want to kind of let the people know? Like you want to promote anything, or are you just you're just here?
Well,
what's the vibe?
I'd say it's pretty old, but like everyone should have seen Apocalypse Now.
Okay, and just to let everyone know, he's not getting paid to say this.
No, I genuinely I'm always heartbroken by how few people of my own generation have seen Apocalypse Now.
Right.
So it remains a masterpiece. It's one of the most impressive pieces of cinema I can think of, and there's so much going on. There's so much behind the scenes to be interested in, which is why the best way to watch it is do the theatrical cut.
Okay.
Then watch a documentary called Hearts of Darkness, A Filmmaker's Apocalypse.
Okay.
Which is a behind the scenes that the director's wife made.
Right.
And a lot of it is her recording her husband having a breakdown without him knowing he's being recorded.
Really?
Yeah.
Now you're actually selling me there. You lost me for a minute there, but now I'm actually really intrigued.
No, that's part of why I find Apocalypse Now so good, because it's a really chaotic film. But then knowing that behind the scenes was more chaotic, that everyone
I'm involved now. I want to
everyone was going mad.
I
thought the first time I watched it, the opening shot is a forest getting napalmed, and I thought, wow, those practical effects are amazing. That's some of the best model work I've ever seen. And I read read Eleanor Coppola's diaries from her time shooting it recently. No, that's real napalm. They fucking burned down forests to make this thing.
This sounds like fucking off the rails, this film. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you are someone, Rob, I want to see. Well, you may disagree, but I'd love to see you do more presenting. I think you may even have a future in stand-up. And
you've never seen me. You never saw me when I was trying it.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen you try.
It
used
wasn't
to try
great,
that,
and I couldn't grow a beard then.
Yeah. So yeah, you're definitely someone I wanna see. Well, what kind of Are you wanting to carry on that techie route, or are you trying to go into any other avenues? Like,
I just want to fucking finish uni, man.
yeah, you're
all
still
I
doing that.
all I want is to get homework out of my life.
Okay. Well, maybe we can come on next time when that's all over and done with.
Yeah, I've got a year left, and
Mhm.
then I'll come on and I'll weep tears of joy that I don't have homework again until my inevitable post grad.
Yeah.
I don't want to do a post grad, but like,
You could do it to delay, right? A lot of people do that.
oh, I'm not
They
gonna
don't
do.
know what they're gonna do.
I'm not gonna do a panic masters. I'm thinking realistically. Say we did the same course
Yeah.
at uni. I'm a year below you. I've still got to finish.
Mhm.
But of everyone you've met at uni,
Yeah.
everyone who's done that course, is there anyone you can imagine more ending up teaching that course?
No, I can. Yeah, I can see you.
Yeah.
You're very comfortable sharing knowledge. You're very comfortable talking about what you're passionate about. So that's why I think you would. No, that makes sense.
And I already dressed like a lecturer.
I think my point is I think I want to see you at least talking to people in your job. Part of what you're so good at, I think, is maybe telling the story. You're a character basically, and I'm wanting you to thrive. I wish you the very best.
Thank you. Well, Eddie, I hope this podcast starts to gain more traction. I know you do have fans.
Yeah. You witnessed that the other day.
I did witness that. We went out for Eddie's birthday, no less. We were in a certain bar in the northern quarter,
Mhm.
and two people about our age approach Eddie, go, oh, we love the podcast, man. Can we get a photo? And he spends the next 15 minutes trying to work out who from his own birthday party has paid these strangers. And none of us had. Like
Weirdest moment.
You might be listening right now. You might be watching. Look, can tag him on Instagram.
I mean, I have these guys.
Oh.
So they've commented. So shout out to Pantiagos is the TikTok that claims they saw me. So I doubt nobody else knows of that. But yeah, there were a couple guys who I met, and it was very weird because I was paranoid as fuck and thought my mates were organizing it.
But no, he's actually he's got a fan base growing. What they didn't say is what they loved about the podcast.
Yeah,
and there is so much to love. The awkward, the awkward pauses.
Yeah.
The constant sexual tension, regardless of the guest.
Regardless of the guest, I think this episode in particular has been very.
Perhaps I wouldn't notice.
No, well, maybe you guys can tell us at home how much sexual tension you kind of notice.
And of course the pacing of the show. We get from point A to point B with the same efficiency as a sort of jellyfish caught in the wrong tide.
It's been so fucked. We have just been like, there's been certain tangents, and it's
if you've listened through the whole thing, congratulations.
Yeah.
You've learned 100 half facts.
Yeah, and a lot of things. Yeah, we need to get Katie back on so we can start Googling stuff again. So any of the bullshit you're saying, I can just go, well, let's just check that, actually.
You should just have a constant fact checker in the room.
Yeah, we do need to get that. If any of you guys want to be my fact checker,
we could make it.
We bloody need one.
We could make it a contest. We could have a fact checker and a Wikipedia troll.
Wikipedia, okay.
Yeah. So one person goes to check the fact, the other tries to edit it into something even more wrong.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's been a pleasure having you on, man. But I've got to shoot off. I've got to head out. But
it's been a pleasure here, and enjoy your. Well, I don't think I'm allowed to say where you're going.
Okay, that's very mysterious. That sounds like I'm about to go to like a brothel or something. It sounds like I have like a second life. The way you phrased that was very mysterious. But yeah, if that's everything, Rob, you want to say?
I mean, there's a lot more I could say, but
we'll leave it for another. I think people need to see you in doses, right? So we'll give them, an hour or so now, and then everybody's gonna be wanting to know. Get Rob back on, I'm sure. So.
Okay, I'll take
your
word for that.
They're gonna love you,
Eddie. If I ever start a podcast, I might invite you on.
Okay, I've got a maybe. I'll take a maybe.
You know,
I'll
it
take a maybe.
depends what the podcast is about.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
also, I'm not sure I can be bothered starting a podcast.
yeah. I wouldn't blame you, to be honest, Rob.
Yeah.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are available on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. All of them, they'll be in the links below. If you're listening to us on Spotify, yeah, check us out on some other socials, or otherwise, just check out on Spotify. We need some more people over there. Yeah, we got clips going out, stuff like that. But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.
And you can find me on LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah, search that shit. Look at all these sexy photos. Bye.